The first time I realized something was seriously off in our neighborhood, it wasn't some dramatic lightning strike or a break-in or anything flashy like you'd see on TV. It was just Karen's voice, sharp, insistent, like a dentist's drill, echoing across our perfectly trimmed lawn. "Officer, you need to do something. They're threatening me right now." She was already waving her phone in the air like she was signaling the cavalry. I stepped out onto the porch, Laura right behind me. My wife, solid as granite in every crisis, just as Karen locked eyes with me, wearing that smug little smile she always put on at HOA meetings. I tried to keep my voice steady, like a reasonable adult. "Karen, this is ridiculous. It's a $50,000 fine. Over a garage door panel. Nobody's threatening you." But she just turned, smile sharpening. "We'll see what the police think about your attitude, David." And 8 minutes later, lights flashed up and down Maple Ridge Estates, where the sidewalks are never cracked, and the lawns are so green they almost look fake. Officer Miller showed up, crisp uniform, young, the kind of guy who looks like he still says, "Yes, ma'am," to his mom. Karen launched herself at him. "Officer, thank God you're here. They refused to comply with legal HOA requirements. I feared for my safety." And she pointed at us, like she'd caught a couple of fugitives hiding stolen art. Miller turned to Laura, ready for a lecture. Then he saw her face, and you could almost hear the gears grinding to a halt inside his head. His voice jumped a whole octave. "Commander Stone, ma'am, I didn't realize this was your residence." Karen's whole expression melted. You ever see ice cream drop off a cone in slow motion? Her clipboard actually hit the driveway. "What did you just call her?" Karen screeched. Miller almost looked embarrassed. "Ma'am, she's my boss." And in that moment, I realized this wasn't about a fine, or a garage door, or even Karen's need to control every blade of grass in the zip code. It was about something deeper, a secret getting dragged out into the sun. Karen thought she was springing a trap, but really, she'd just yanked the rug out from under herself. Thing is, neither of us had any clue how deep this mess went. When Laura and I moved here, I thought we'd landed in paradise. Maple trees glowing orange in October, kids riding bikes till dusk, neighbors waving like it was some living Norman Rockwell painting. After all my years wrangling teenagers in history class, I wanted order, predictability, a place where nothing truly unexpected happened. At the center of all this was Karen, the so-called guardian angel of Maple Ridge, organizing food drives, holiday lights, cookies for new families. Lost your dog? Karen would find it before you even finished your first cup of coffee. She kept everything running, too well, in hindsight. If you painted your shutters, she'd show up with color swatches. Bought a new car? She'd sweetly ask if you'd filed the parking paperwork. If your kid left a basketball hoop at the curb, Karen had the regulation printed out by sunrise. I'll admit, I admired it at first. But who carries every rulebook around just in case? Still, back then, it felt like care. Laura said she's good. Too good. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just Laura's cop instincts making her wary of anyone who seemed too perfect. But then little things started stacking up. Karen cataloged information. Who worked late, who left town, who changed locks. She called it community responsibility. It felt more like an interrogation. Even Marcus, our handyman, eventually admitted Karen asked him to keep an eye out for violations, mostly at our place. Notes, photos, even suggesting preventive maintenance when nothing was wrong. Then the letter arrived, heavy paper, photos of our garage door, stapled together like some true crime evidence kit. 50 grand. Violation of community standards, Section 12B. Garage panel not matching subdivision design. Laura scanned the page. Immediate payment required. No exceptions. Failure to comply may result in lien enforcement. She leaned in, voice low. "This isn't about a door. This is about pressure." My jaw tightened. I stormed down to the community center to confront Karen, but she just smiled. Sympathy as fake as her annual sugar cookies. "It's not personal, just enforcement." Laura cut in, calm, icy. "The ordinance is selectively enforced. There are 7 homes with the same garage door. None got notices." Karen's smile flickered. "Perhaps you've been flagged for review." That word, flagged, stuck with me like a splinter. On the walk home, Laura's jaw was set. She's targeting us. It's about leverage. And that's when the war really started. Marcus came by to fix our gate, dropping that bombshell. Karen had him documenting us, under the guise of helping us avoid violations. That night, I walked the block, measuring every mailbox. Half were out of compliance, none cited except ours. Back in bed, I whispered to Laura, "We're not paranoid. We're marked." Then I found it. On a tired Friday, after dropping my keys behind Laura's flower pots, my hand brushed against something small and cold, a lens. Hidden, pro-grade, not the sort of thing you buy at Walmart. Laura's face went hard when she examined it. Law enforcement grade. Whoever planted this knew what they were doing. She scribbled notes late into the night, piecing together a jigsaw of surveillance and targeted complaints. "This isn't a garage door fight, David. It's about me. Someone knows I'm a police commander. Someone's watching us." The emergency HOA meeting was called for the next night. We walked in expecting a dozen folks arguing about hedges. Instead, it was standing room only. Karen started in, her voice honeyed but hard. "There have been troubling reports of surveillance devices found in the neighborhood, equipment raising privacy and safety concerns." She was flipping the script before we could even speak. Laura squeezed my hand, her get-ready signal. Neighbors stood up, worried about their safety. Marcus parroted Karen's talking points. "Some residents think they're above the rules, causes problems for everyone." The choreography was obvious to me, the teacher. When it was my turn, I stood and held up the camera. Professional grade, law enforcement exclusive, aimed into my home. Who here thinks that's reasonable? The room gasped, doubt flickering across faces. Karen tried to spin it. "I'm only protecting the community. If people feel targeted, maybe they should ask themselves why." Laura leaned over, whispering, "She's turning them against us." And she was right. Some believed her, others weren't sure, but lines were being drawn. After the meeting, Karen called the police, again. But this time, Officer Miller and his backup arrived, recognized Laura instantly, and the whole charade crumbled. "Commander Stone, is everything all right?" The cops made it clear. HOA disputes are civil. No police involvement unless there's a crime. Karen, finally looking small, sputtered. By the time they left, word was out. Laura's secret was blown. Our private life, now public. But Karen was relentless. She began whispering about Laura's authority, sowing doubts. What if she's watching all of us? What if she abuses her power? Suddenly, neighbors we'd known for years started crossing the street to avoid us. The cookout invite never came. Laura tried to act tough, but I could see the hurt. I can handle criminals. I can't handle being treated like one. That's when I started knocking on doors, showing neighbors the proof. Photos, measurements, Marcus's notebook, the surveillance camera. Does this look like community protection, or something darker? Some listened, some were already too far gone. Marcus came to me, notebook in hand, finally admitting Karen had him keeping tabs on Laura's every move. She called it safety. Now I see it was surveillance. Then we discovered Detective Walsh, Karen's real inside man. Financial crimes, heavy gambling debts, feeding information about Laura's schedule and the investigation. With Laura's guidance, we wired up and set a trap. Meeting Walsh at a local diner, letting him talk himself right into a confession about the whole plot. Turns out, Karen wasn't even Karen. She was Lisa Cooper, a fugitive ex-cop from Chicago, wanted for theft, fraud, and manipulating communities just like ours. The next HOA meeting, Laura laid it all out. "The woman you know as Haley Sanders is not who she claims to be. She's Detective Lisa Cooper, wanted since 2020, millions stolen, multiple communities infiltrated." Marcus handed over the records. Linda, sobbing, admitted, "She told me you were dangerous, Laura." She made me believe it. When the crowd marched to Lisa's house, it was empty. Cleaned out, erased. The perfect neighbor gone without a trace. Except for one thing. A steel file cabinet in the basement, packed with surveillance on dozens of families, photos, bank records, even medical files. The FBI showed up, stunned by the scale. "She's one of the most sophisticated infiltrators we've ever tracked," Agent Torres told us. We were the first to expose her before she could finish her scheme. Lisa wasn't done. That night, she took Linda hostage at the old community center. The standoff was tense, the FBI circling, neighbors watching in horror. Lisa spun her story, "I was only protecting you from her," even as she held a taser to Linda's side. Marcus, brave as ever, guided SWAT through a secret corridor. In a blur of light and sound, they rescued Linda and brought Lisa out in cuffs. But even then she whispered to Torres, "You have no idea what you've destroyed. This is bigger than me. Now they'll come for all of you." The trial was national news. Lisa Cooper, mastermind of community fraud, guilty on 22 counts, sentenced to 22 years. The fallout changed everything. Laws were passed, background checks for HOA leaders, training for police, textbooks written. Linda became HOA president, Marcus leads Real Neighborhood Watch now, and Laura was promoted for her work. Our mailbox, still slightly crooked, bears a plaque, in memory of trust restored. But sometimes, when the wind rattles that old mailbox, I still remember Lisa's last words. Maybe it was a bluff, or maybe it was a warning. Because you never really know, do you, how far a neighbor will go until they think you're standing in their way. So what do you think? Is community about trust or about control? Where do you draw the line between keeping order and crossing it? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about what justice really means, right here, where we live.